So I'm not really sure how to start this, so I'll just start by introducing myself. My name is Laz. I go by the moniker, I guess, or the name of Agent Seven online. Um, that name came about. I started doing street art and a lot of stenciling and stickers and wheat paste and things like that. Like I believe over 15 years ago, and I needed to come up with a name, and that name derives from a comic book that I was working with a friend of mine who sadly passed away. It'll be 20 years now this year, this August actually. And when I was looking for a name to choose for my art persona, I came across a post-it with some of the original art that we worked on when we were sitting down brainstorming that comic, which unfortunately never came out. We did do some other stuff, and I'll go more into that as we go along with these videos. But right now, I just wanted to give everybody at least a little idea of why the page is called Agent 7. But what I'm here for today is just to I guess, put myself out there, uh, find my people, find my voice on this platform. I'm 51 years old. I'll be 52 at the end of the year. And I need to make some changes in my life. I'm not where I thought I'd be at this age. I honestly don't know where I thought I would be, but I know it's not where I am now. I've gone through a lot of heartaches in my life, a lot of hard times. My brother passed away in a car accident. Uh, it's going to be 9 years this year. That that rocked our family. Our family is just was just me, my parents, my brother, and he had a baby daughter at the time who was 5 when he passed away, and his wife. And yeah, he passed away in a car accident, and our family was never the same. My dad never really recovered from that, and sadly passed away also about 3 years ago. My mom, her health has just been declining more and more. She'll be 88 this year, and last year I made the decision of moving her in with me. At the time, I was living in a nice house uh, that some friends of mine had rented to me at a decent price when my brother passed away. So it was more house than I ever needed. But the idea at that time was for my parents to move in with me. But my mom had her own place, and she wanted to keep her independence with my dad, and they were still a bit better. So that's what they did. And I lived in this three-bedroom house for like 8 years before my mom finally decided to move in with me. A bit reluctantly, I must say, but it just got to the point that her health isn't great. She's getting older. She can't really be alone all the time. And I was having to go to her house on a daily basis to check in on her, to see how she was doing, to just be with her, to help her with things. And it just became a lot for me. So I had this big house. I figured, why not just move in with me? And she did. Unfortunately, a few months later, the owners of the house reached out to me and decided that they were going to sell the house. So all of a sudden, I'm left with the situation of having to move. And I had 9 dogs at the time, which I know it's crazy. During COVID, I had 2 dogs, and during COVID, they had a litter, and I ended up keeping them, and it was crazy. But I had 9 dogs, and where was I going to go with 9 dogs? Especially in this market. I'm in South Florida, and I know rent is crazy everywhere right now, but here in South Florida, Miami, it's astronomical. And I was forced to make some really tough decisions. namely of which I had to find homes for some of my dogs, and it was hard. Uh, I found I found a great no kill shelter where it's a huge ranch up in West Palm. It's called Big Dog Ranch. If you're looking for a dog, it's a great place to support. Um, they, like I said, it's a no kill shelter. It's a huge area, and yeah, I had to make the tough decision where I surrendered over six of my dogs. I kept three of the girls because they were the more calm ones. They're girls, which are less likely to, lift their legs and pee or things like that. And I knew I was gonna have to go to a much smaller place, and so I kept the main one, the main mother, which was the one I've had the longest, and two of her daughters. But I got rid of the dad and all the other kids, and it's something to this day that's still like it's a hole in my heart. Like I still sometimes just I'm with my other dogs and I just think of them and think of, where they might be now, how they're doing, if they feel that I abandoned them. I mean, I know in my heart I did the right thing and hopefully they found better homes, but it it's still to this day one of the hardest decisions I've made. I've made the comparison to my friends and stuff that yeah, I've lost my brother, I've lost my dad, I've lost friends, but this wasn't, and I've lost dogs before, and all of those have been horrible. But this wasn't that I lost them; it's that I had to give them up, and that, wow, I don't even know. I don't even know how to process that. And that's that's just one of the things I carry. Now I see myself in a position where, well, 6 months ago, this was back in January when I had to move. I was supposed to move out by January 1st. I ended up moving out halfway through the month because it was only me. I have a few friends, but no one that I could really call to help, and no one that really stepped up to help either with the move. So one of my nephews, which I call nephew, but he's actually from my brother's first marriage, and they're not even his kids. But she had two boys and a girl after they got divorced and stuff, and we've always been close to them. And those kids grew up with me, and yeah, they're like my nephews. But yeah, one of them was able to step up at least on the last day and help me with the bigger furniture and stuff to get it to the new house or get it to storage what I was storing. But everything else I had to do myself, and it was a lot. It was a lot, and having to give up the dogs and find a new place. And at the time, I had lost my job a few months before that. I was doing Ubering and selling a few things online and things like that, but just barely getting by. I'm grateful that at least the guys who rented me the house, they gave me those last couple of months before I moved that I didn't have to pay rent, so I was able to save a little money, hardly any, because I had other bills to pay and other things, and my car broke down at that time too. It was just like one thing after the other. But now I see myself in a situation where 6 months later, I'm well, I'm gonna go even back. When I had to find a new place, I couldn't find anything that I could afford. More so that I could afford that I didn't have the 3 months that most places asked for rent, and then also have to find a place that accepted dogs. It it was hard, and a friend of mine pushed me to like go online, and I went on my Instagram page and I told my story, and people showed up. I mean, strangers showed up. I didn't ask for anything. I was asking more for advice. If anybody knew of any places, if anybody had any advice, something that could help. And man, did people step up. A few people sent me some money, not a lot, but I, between the people that sent, I was able to make a couple $100. But somebody stepped up. A friend of a friend saw the post and offered me a place, which is where I'm at now. It's not a huge place. It's a small efficiency, but he didn't ask for any security or anything, just the rent. So that worked out. Another friend stepped up and offered me a job. It's not the highest paying job in the world, but it's a job. I'm able to pay my bills, and it's something I'm enjoying doing, and I like the people I work with. So in that sense, it's good. But I fell into this rut with that I was just working and coming home, and I'd escape on the weekends a little with a friend of mine, and just time passed by. And the last couple of weeks, days, it's just been hitting me that I need to make a change, and that's why I'm here. I'm putting myself out there. I'm telling my story. I'm not 100% sure where this is going to go, what I'm going to do on this platform. I've done a lot of things in my life. I've worked in comics, I've worked in film, I've worked with some major artists. I'm an artist myself. I've done street art, and in the sense of like stickers and wheat paste and stencils. I've done live painting at some events, but these are all things I did years ago. I've lost my creative spark these last couple of years, and I'm hoping to find that again. I know I need to find that again, and I need to make changes. And yeah, that's that's where I'm at. I never thought life would be this hard. I've always been, a bit of an outsider, a big dork in a lot of ways. I mean, I grew up on comics and sci-fi and things like that. That when I was little was considered, on the outskirts. Today, yeah, everybody loves Star Wars. Everybody loves Marvel. Everybody loves all this stuff. But when I was a kid, that wasn't the case, and I've always withdrawn in. I suffer from anxiety and depression and especially social anxiety, where I have a hard time communicating with people, being myself. I've forgotten who I even am, and I I need to find myself again. I need to make, like I said, some drastic changes, because I can't keep going this way. So yeah, that's that's me in a nutshell. It's a lot more to tell, and I'll get into a lot more things as we go along. But for now, like I said, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name's Laz, and thanks for listening. I hope to, meet some cool people on here, find my tribe, maybe help some people along the way with my experiences and what I've gone through. Hopefully, find some help myself from just the cathartic experience of like just talking and and speaking my mind on here, and from the advice and friends that I'll hopefully make along the way. So yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll talk again soon.